So today I sort of wanted to talk about my early thoughts on Wild Hearts, right? Not going to be like a proper full in-depth review or anything. Just me hitting the big topics, things I care about the most. But before we get any further, I do want to go ahead and talk about the performance issues, right? I am playing on PC. I am dealing with the CPU bottleneck issues. It is what it is. They're supposed to have a patch out this week that should fix it. If it doesn't end up helping that much, I will, mention it in like a pinned comment. But I don't expect that to happen. I assume they'll get this dealt with, get it, sorted out. So no real reason, in my opinion, to assume the performance will continue to be very bad, right? And so let's go ahead and get into it. Now, first I want to talk about the weapons, right? Basically, are they fun to play? Do they feel good? Are they satisfying? Stuff like that, right? And generally, yes, I like the weapons quite a bit. Don't really have any real big complaints about how any of the weapons are designed. I'm not as big of a fan as of the Nodachi or the hand cannon, but that's just because they're not my thing. I just don't enjoy them as much, but I don't really see any issues with their design. But generally, I like the weapons a lot, right? I'm currently maining the bladed Wagasa and sort of like sub-maining the claw blade, I guess. Having absolute blast with these weapons. Very satisfying to use, especially getting parries on the Wagasa. Even more so getting multiple parries in a row. Ooh, it feels so good. Absolutely adore the weapon. The claw blade also super flashy. You fly around, tons of fun to mess with. And yeah, just most of the weapons are just really fun, and they do like cool stuff with big impact. I enjoy them a lot, right? Heard some people don't like the sounds, think the sounds don't sound very satisfying. I haven't really felt like that. I think the sounds are pretty good personally. I like them, but that might be just a matter of personal taste. You just keep that in mind. Some people don't like it. Now getting into the combat proper. Feels pretty good. It definitely feels pretty different from Monster Hunter. So if you're coming into this game expecting it to feel like Monster Hunter, just be aware that it isn't going to be the case, right? In fact, in these sort of genre games, let's say it feels more like Dauntless than Monster Hunter. It's more fast-paced. It's a bit more aggressive, right? But generally, it feels good. It flows pretty well. Heard some people have complaints with with the flow combat in terms of the weapons feeling clunky. Now, I sort of, tie that up to people who are new to the genre, where weapons are kind of clunky by design in this genre, right? If you're mid-combo, you can't just turn around, right? And, if the monster jumps behind you, you can't just turn around and, continue your combo. Your weapon's only going to let you turn so far, right? And I kind of chalked a lot of that up to that. Because personally, I just haven't had any issues with how the gameplay flow feels. I think it feels good. Even despite the performance issues, I'm enjoying the combat a lot. So, no real complaints right there. Now, there is I guess, a connected issue that does affect the combat. And that's going to be the camera. Honestly, this game, pretty desperately needs some camera settings. Even just being able to zoom the camera out just a little bit would help a lot with some monsters. Camera can be kind of annoying with something like Lava Back. But it gets really annoying with monsters like King Tusk, right? Or at least with certain weapons it does, right? Get really annoying. Game kind of really desperately needs some camera settings, right? Hopefully we get those. Only time will tell, I guess. But definitely the camera can hold the combat back in some ways, for sure. Hopefully we get some settings for that. We can only pray and spam the developers and tell them to fix and tell them to change it. If we bully them enough, they'll give us camera control settings. Remember, bullying works. Don't take that seriously. Don't bully people. But yeah, camera can suck. Camera can suck for sure. Now, moving on, getting into the crafting. I love the crafting, man. Especially the weapon crafting. And if I had to describe the the crafting system in one word, it's going to be customization. You get so much control over your loadout in this game, right? What skills you have on your weapons, your armor to a lesser extent. But if you don't know how the weapon crafting works, let me explain it to you really quickly. Basically, there's a weapon crafting tree. You start at the starting node every time, and then you craft your way through the tree to get to the final product that you want. Now, weapons will both have non-inheritable traits, so this is still like an implicit trait the weapon always has, and then it will have inherited traits and inherited trait slots. That basically, as you make your way through the tree, you can inherit those traits from one weapon to the next until you get to your final product, right? So, two people who make the same final product may have very different inherited traits on the weapon. I gotta say, I love it. I love the amount of control you have over your weapon and the customization, and I can't wait to see, you know, once I get to in-game, what kind of crazy stuff I can make, right? Now, the armor crafting gives you some control, but less than the weapon crafting, in that essentially there's a alignment system, right? There's, you know, the human alignment and the kimono monster alignment. And, you know, there's the base armor, and then some armors will have human forms and kimono forms, right? Where they'll have different base stats, and they may have access to different skills depending on your alignment, right? I like this a lot. This sort of, especially this alignment system where you sort of dedicate to one path, and you get some benefits for it. I like it a lot. I think it's cool. Gives you some extra control over your build, some extra customization. And I guess by extension, although you, or at least as far as I'm aware, you can't craft these, the talisman system, right? So basically the way the talisman system works is you can have, I think, up to 5 of them. Maybe you can unlock more slots for later, but currently I can only have 5 equipped, and you have so much power draw you can have, right? And so essentially, again, more customization. You know, these are kind of like charms from Monster Hunter or something like that. But again, you can equip 5 of them as long as you don't go over the power draw. I like it. I like it a lot. I just like the amount of control you have over your build in this game. So much customization. I like it a lot. And I guess this is where I would talk about the story, but to be honest, I don't really care about the story. So not going to talk about it. I haven't really paid any attention to it. I'm sure it's fine. And I guess I will say, if I had one concern about the crafting system, it would be that once you get to in-game, I am a little worried that the crafting system is going to be like too much of a resource sink. I'm not in game, so I don't know if there's any like real validity to that concern. I have to wait and see when I get there, right? But yeah, that could be an issue. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, and those are kind of I don't really have too many big issues with the game right now. You know, the camera issues I mentioned earlier, that's a big one. Obviously the performance issues, but I assume they'll fix that. Other than that, no real big issues with the game. I'm really enjoying the game a lot, even with the performance issues, right? Even with the performance issues, I'm enjoying it a lot. So let me know what do you guys think about the game right now? Again, barring performance issues. Are you enjoying it? You know, is it not your thing? I can definitely see this game not being for everybody, not even necessarily for all Monster Hunter players. May not enjoy this game. Definitely doesn't feel like a game that's going to be for everybody, right? But yeah, that's it for this video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, alright? Take it easy and have a good one, everybody.